Let's get started. In 10th place, a well-regarded show that never quite made it to Broadway, The Last 5 Years. In this structurally complex, time-twisting 2001 musical, the only characters are a Jewish man and a Gentile woman who fall in and out of love. In his signature song, romantic lead Jamie explains that he was so turned off by the Jewish girls of his youth that it doesn't matter if his dream Gentile woman is deeply flawed. He needs a shiksa goddess.
Shiksa goddess, I've been waiting for someone like you.
In the 9th slot, Parade, with music and lyrics by Jason Robert Brown, who also brought us The Last 5 Years. A big winner at the 1999 Tonys, Parade focuses on perhaps the most notorious anti-Semitic incident in American history: the arrest, conviction, and eventual lynching of Jewish factory manager Leo Frank, falsely accused of raping and murdering a 13-year-old employee. Parade is a tragic show, not only because the hero dies, but also because despite well-deserved critical success, it was a commercial flop, closing after only 2.5 months of performances. Yes. Our number 8 show, Funny Girl, is supposed to be about Fanny Brice, but in many people's minds it's really about Barbra Streisand. Streisand's character Brice is a vaudeville star who falls in love with entrepreneur Nick Arnstein. The 1964 show contains famous Streisand catchphrases like
"Hello, gorgeous,"
and songs like People and Don't Rain on My Parade. In 7th place, Ragtime. This lush 1998 Broadway show is by Lynn Ahrens, who's Jewish, and Stephen Flaherty, who isn't. Ragtime tells the interwoven stories of a Harlem musician, an upper-class white woman, and a Jewish immigrant in the first decade of the 20th century, when ragtime music was all the rage. As such, the music is refreshing for Broadway ears, but it's really the engaging story that makes the show. In 6th place, we have Jesus Christ Superstar, Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice's 1971 Broadway hit about the most famous Jew in history. Told from the perspective of Judas Iscariot, Superstar narrates the story of the last week of Jesus' life as described in the Gospels. The musical includes famous songs like I Don't Know How to Love Him and, of course, Jesus Christ Superstar. But Jewish viewers may particularly enjoy Herod's song, in which the flamboyant Jewish king mocks and baits the would-be Messiah. Jews might not exactly revere the show's hero, but they're likely to enjoy Jesus Christ Superstar nonetheless. The 5th place and most recent of these 10 shows, The Band's Visit, is based on a 2007 Israeli film of the same name, and has little plot, just a situation that the show claims wasn't very important. An Egyptian band on its way to a music festival in the metropolis of Petach Tikva accidentally buys tickets to Beit HaTikva, a small Israeli town. There's no bus until the next day, and the stranded musicians have no choice but to overnight with the local Israelis. Composer-lyricist David Yazbek, who is both Jewish and Lebanese, wrote timeless ballads that have made The Band's Visit a landmark show. Then there's number 4, Falsettos, a downbeat yet funny 1982 musical about people surviving the AIDS epidemic. Falsettos has so many Jewish characters that its first number is called Four Jews in a Row Bitching. The show is the handiwork of openly gay Jewish composer-lyricist William Finn. In the first act, written before the AIDS crisis, a boy named Jason copes with his realization that my father's a homo. In the second act, Marvin's lover Whizzer gets sick with AIDS. Jason's bar mitzvah is an important plot point, but you shouldn't see falsettos for the plot. See it for the well-drawn characters, their lives, their loves, and their losses, as expressed in moving ballads such as Unlikely Lovers and
What would I do if you had not been?
I've put the iconic 1964 musical Fiddler on the Roof at third instead of first because despite a breathtaking first act, its second act is limp and overlong. Still, the vigorous Jerome Robbins choreography starts at breakneck speed from the first passionate number Tradition and moves breathlessly to Matchmaker, Matchmaker, If I Were a Rich Man, Sabbath, Prayer, to Life, Miracle of Miracles, and Sunrise, Sunset. It's a glorious musical journey of which I never get bored. In the second act, by contrast, all you've got are forgettable numbers, like the tuneless Do You Love Me and the lugubrious Anatevka. You should go home after intermission, but you'll leave transfixed by a magnificent theater experience. Second place show Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat tells the biblical story of Joseph and his brothers through a melange of musical styles: rockabilly, country western, calypso, French cabaret, Charleston, jazz, and 70s go-go. Tim Rice's lyrics are playful and sharp, such as listing 29 colors on Joseph's coat, while Andrew Lloyd Webber's music contains several ditties that easily become earworms. Those Canaan Days, There's One More Angel in Heaven, and
Any dream will do.
the top slot on the list goes to Cabaret, set in 1930s Germany as the Nazis rise to power. Cabaret is told on dual tracks, with numbers inside the cabaret performed in parallel with two romances, taking place outside. So when there's a love triangle among the main characters, the MC in the cabaret sings Two Ladies. And when there's anti-Semitism outside, the MC performs a comic song that's devilish underneath. In If You Could See Her Through My Eyes, he sings of his taboo love for a gorilla, only to reveal in the last line what he's really talking about.
She wouldn't look Jewish at all.
I hope you've enjoyed seeing my list of the top 10. Which musical would be your number one? Which would you drop, and which would you include? If you put your answers in the comments below, I promise to respond. I'm a frequent presenter at Limud conferences, scholar in residencies, synagogues, and other Jewish organizations around the world.